So, ladies and gentlemen, come closer. Are you hypnotized? So a few videos ago, somebody was calling me the guy who's going to save YouTube. Now, while I think the sentiment is very heartfelt, and I know where that person was coming from, somebody else decided to jump in and say, well, how's a bozo like me going to save YouTube? Yes, in my early days on YouTube, I was making rage content because after a while, you got more engagement talking about it. And since the beginning of this year, YouTube basically said to me, make more videos like Stellar Blade because you drew thousands of views to that particular video. And of course, the roller coaster ride hasn't stopped. It keeps escalating. I am nearly at 8,000 subscribers, which is amazing. Keep it up, folks. I like the fact you're sharing my videos and waxing enthusiastically about my hilarious content. But to the person who said that I create these rage baiting, click hating thumbnails, well, actually, I have to create them as part of my marketing strategy. I actually believe 100% in what I talk about. Do I always hit the landing? No, I don't. But that's the whole point. You can't be right every single time, because if you are, then something is obviously strange at the foot of the Circle K.
Bill, what? Strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
But on that one, folks, what I will say as well, that the people who are much bigger than me in terms of subscribers, some of them are actual grifters. In their previous content or what they're known for, they've never talked about video games being this and being problematic. All of a sudden now, because it's very trendy to talk about very bad video games and how they destroy the characters' faces and everything else that comes with it, that's what they're doing now. They're grifting, they're farming for points. That's all they're doing, and it's not genuine and it's not sincere. For me, as a guy who grew up on Space Invaders, then obviously comic books, TV, music, films, etc. Yeah, I definitely know my stuff. Am I the biggest expert? No, but I grew up in what I would call the pantheon of pop culture entertainment. The 70s, 80s, and certainly the most part of the 90s. But without further ado, folks, I've got a lot of stuff to dig into today regarding Star Wars Outlaws, because my God, this shit show only gets so much more worse.
If he doesn't, I need to apply the touch.
You got the touch!
Goddamn right.
Megatron must be stopped, no matter the cost.
Works for me.
I wear sunglasses at night so I can track the visions in my mind. There's someone behind me, isn't there?
No! You've been doing the same joke for 10 years!
What's that?
When the hell's breaking loose, you'll be right in the eye of the storm!
Flashing through the sky, he's a go-go guy. Stronger than a train with a so-so brain. He's fearless, careless, a little too careless.
I'd buy that for $1.
So here we go, guys. The Star Wars Outlaws world premiere trailer. Now, why I'm showing you this, I'm not actually going to play the trailer, but this was the early iteration of Kay Vez, as played by the lovely Humberly Gonzalez. Now, let's face it, okay? We don't care about her lifestyle choice of being a she, her, and a super queer Hispanic woman. She's a very likable person. She's very attractive. But of course, this rendition of her here, you can clearly see the long chin of the law is definitely making itself known from Ubisoft. And boy, wait until you see what I've got about them later on. It will just make you laugh from ear to ear.
Today, I am proud to announce the Walt Disney Company is acquiring Lucasfilm, the global entertainment company
is the worst.
Founded by George Lucas and the home of the legendary Star Wars franchise.
A despicable pervert. First arrested 5 years ago for making love to a fire hydrant. An additional charge was brought against parking in front of it.
pre-order sales for Star Wars Outlaws on Ubisoft's website. It's absolutely terrible. So standard edition, £60, we're going to call it that. I hate the 99, they always tag on at the end. Gold edition and ultimate editions, well, gold edition is £95, ultimate is £115. But of course now you've got the subscription based tier that Ubisoft wants you to go for. So that's £15 a month. For that money and £1 more, you can actually spend it on Netflix instead if you want to watch your content in 4K ad-free. The reason why Ubisoft are actually doing this, because they don't want you to own physical video games anymore. It's terrible. Remember the good old days when you bought a video game in the noughties and then much later on the developers will say, hey, we got some free DLC. It's free to download. Great times, folks. You'll never ever get that again. Of course, now Capcom goes full woke, which again, thanks to thatpartplace.com, is just awful, isn't it? It reveals localization teams alters video games for cultural adaptation, preserving context and inclusive storytelling. Oh my god, geez, can't wait. It's so sad to see Capcom has fallen from grace in this way, which doesn't give me much high hope now that the Resident Evil 5 remake, if it actually ever happens, will stay true to the original game. Oh god, it's going to be such a shit show if they do go ahead and make that, but they steer clear of the cultural misappropriation of that game.
You're beautiful, it's true.
Oh, wow. When I saw this, I thought this cannot be true. So from Blaze Media on April the 11th, trans rights are human rights. Developers of new Star Wars Outlaws game publicly renounce oppression and inequality. These three photographs right here is just enough to tell you everything you need to know. The Swedish devs at Massive Entertainment, a subsidiary of Montreal's Ubisoft, celebrated International Women's Day, obviously last month, by posing with their arms sideways in an attempt to depict an equal sign with hashtag each for equal on their photos. Well then surely you just do this as the equal sign, right? From getting in the camera there, two hands facing that way rather than what they're doing there, which looks like you're cradling a very big fat baby. The first male employees, so if you're talking about transgender, are you sure you're not misgendering that gentleman? Renouncing all forms of oppression, they said. Feeling safe without anxiety, fear, and being judged. I'm not being funny, dude, but if you're making that statement and you're posing like that, you're gonna get judged anyway. Same for your two other reprobates here. Massive Entertainment developers of Star Wars Outlaws. That's all you need to know. Oh, yeah, we got a few more reprobates here. What equality means to me, not having to do another person's emotional labor. Well, she looks insufferable anyway, so I wouldn't be surprised she would come out with that. And what does this lady say here? For me, equality is providing cerebral opportunities to women where they can be mother and CEO at the same time and no one questions about how they can manage it all. Well, women who are CEOs and are mothers, whatever, they're going to get stressed out because how are they going to look after their kids and be a CEO at the same time? One's going to impact the decision making and the physicality of the other. So what is this bird talking about? But obviously she's got a very amusing face. She's obviously, yep, I'm the right DEI checklist that you want to see. And I think it's just absolutely hilarious.
So let's have fun.
Kathleen Kennedy showing a bit of leg to Warwick Davis. I mean, she's got slightly veiny legs where I'm sitting, but a very nice wedding ring. Frank Marshall, if you ever get down on hard times, dude, you can always flog that for a few $1,000s more. But this is Kathleen Kennedy, 2013, and I'm going to bring that year into a specific reason why. She just praises the Star Wars fans. Go ahead, Kathleen, who looks almost attractive here from this angle.
Good. Larry Kroger is now pledged to Delta Tau Chi. Next slide, please, D-Day.
it tells me the importance of the film.
Yeah, so funny that Kathleen Kennedy talks about the importance of Star Wars to the fans. The same woman who, when she was given the keys to the kingdom by George Lucas, had no clue about the Star Wars universe. She even publicly admitted in a video that there are people out there who know more than she does. But it's been a learning curve.
This is, I keep saying this, it is a daunting exercise. You guys probably know many more details than I do about everything inside the universe of Star Wars. So there's been an amazing education process that's had to go on with this. And conversations we had early on with George, where George, it was fantastic to just immerse ourselves with him day after day after day.
So, ladies and gentlemen, were you paying close attention when I mentioned the year 2013? Or did I mention it? Alas, poor Yorick, I knew you so well. But yes, there was a fantastic game that I was truly excited for, as were many other millions of Star Wars fans. What was it called? Star Wars 1313, and we shall take a look at this right now. But there's a bonus I'm going to show to you as well, which I didn't think was actually true. So yeah, we'll probably not run through the whole game, but definitely takes its cues from Uncharted.
Seen some pretty sorry excuses for transports in my time. This has got to be the saddest rust bucket I've ever set foot in.
I've seen worse. Hell, I've lived in worse.
But if it's so dangerous where we're going, why aren't we taking your ship to get there? I mean, is this thing even armed?
We needed something less obvious, like a standard cargo ship.
Just want to remind you guys and gals, this is from 2013, and then we get trash from Ubisoft from 2024, which just looks half-baked, and apparently that's going to be the full version of the game when it gets released in August.
I'm starting to think you brought me along just to do your dirty work.
It's really weird watching this because it truly feels I've gone back in time. Why? Because the protagonists are single straight white men. Oh my gosh, if we have that in today's gaming, it's a problem.
As well see if there's any place more comfortable on this rust bucket. It's a long way down. The rings aren't on Coruscant. They're underneath it.
Yeah, so the title 1313 refers to Coruscant 1313, that level of which I think is the hideout for Boba Fett and the villainy scum of that particular section of the Star Wars universe. Let me just move it on a bit, actually. I mean, isn't that better than that god-awful parkour sequence we saw at the beginning of the Outlaws trailer?
But if we're gonna pull this off...
So remember before I said this is very Uncharted? Well, you're about to see what I'm talking about. I'm not sure if any developers from that series actually worked on this, but I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, they were calling this Nathan Drake in space. Nathan Drake and Sully Sullivan in space. That would have been a hell of a game title. Isn't this just awesome? It's so awesome. Wow. And I like how they differentiate between the red and the blue lasers from the weapons. I think that's really clever as well. And what's really heartbreaking about all of this, they worked so long on this game, and then when Disney bought Star Wars and Lucasfilm, this was off the shelves. In fact, I remember Kathleen Kennedy being asked about this by an audience member at Star Wars Celebration. I can't find the clip, unfortunately, but she clearly stated, oh, we haven't forgotten about that game. Star Wars 1313 is definitely not being cancelled. And of course, we find out later on, yes, it has been. Never allow a woman to be in charge, boys and girls. That's the moral of the story, if you want to protect your IPs. Now, as an added bonus, boys and girls, because I'm just that nice to you, I thought this was a joke, but actually it's not. Boba Fett unseen gameplay. Have a look at this. The assets are unfinished here, but I look at this and I think what we could have had. So here's what I'm talking about, the unfinished assets.
Get back here!
I think the way the characters move, the way they run through a meat grinding factory, I'm going to assume that is. The city skyline looks fantastic. Actual Boba Fett's movement is awesome. I love this. Love it. It's fantastic.
Don't let him get away!
But that's just a little snippet for you, boys and girls. What we could have had in terms of great Star Wars games. I don't really care for the KOTOR remake at this moment in time. It'll probably end up being dog shit, or they're going to put Sweet Baby Inc. stuff into it. Who knows? But Kathleen Kennedy, folks, she's the Unicron, the destroyer of franchises. Don't let that woman near another franchise ever again. Star Wars Outlaws lead writer Nikki Foy has had to password protect her social media accounts because now what they're saying is, this is actually very funny, is that the reaction to this trailer is on the same level as that Fable character, which I can actually see, to be honest. I think that's actually a good comparison. But of course now, Game Rant, they never fail to make me laugh, and I've just mentioned what they've said here. Star Wars Outlaws trailer sparks debate over Kay Vez's appearance, with some calling her ugly. Really? Yeah, portrayed by Humberly Gonzalez is defended as refreshing and realistic. No, she's not. She's none of those things. Give me a break, will ya? And of course now, Mutahar from Some Ordinary Gamers, the worst title you could pick for a YouTube channel. It's so generic beyond belief. Mutahar is all right, but he can be very... Hi, it's me, Mutahar here. Oh, that god-awful Canadian accent. He's defending Star Wars Outlaws Kay Vez's appearance. You do realize actual facial scanning happens incredibly well in real time. Rendered games, right? This is Death Stranding running on last generation hardware with top tier lighting and all. But that's a contradiction because you just actually said, yes, it does work well. But when you look at Star Wars Outlaws and that god-awful Warriors character rendition, how is that applied to that game? No, it's being done on purpose. You absolute moronic fool. Proof of forcing game devs to sign their souls away to diversity. And this is on Reddit. Ubisoft's code of conduct is forcing employees to create games with DEI content. Public information taken straight from their website. Ubisoft expects team members to design every experience, event, product, service, website, and comms with diversity, inclusion, equity, accessibility in mind.
All this from a slice of gabagool.
Let's get back to that gabagool.
Ubisoft for many years kind of steered clear from this because Yves Guillemot, their CEO, very lecherous, dubious, very odd being that, you know, he's still there and got away with murder. Maybe he can't do it now because of DEI and forced inclusion. It is so goddamn awful. Never mind meritocracy, folks, where it's all about what you can bring to the table. It's more about what color is your skin and are you crippled and do you have a tongue that only hangs onto one side of your mouth? It's one of those things, right? Of course, now learning the law on Twitter X, this guy's absolutely hilarious. Introducing the Guardians of the Chinverse.
Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy?
The four horsemen of the Jaw Order. Now, in case you want to know who the other two people were, on the far right, obviously Aloy, what the hell they did to her from Horizon Zero Dawn and Forbidden West is absolutely unforgivable. And Shield Maiden Evior, the Viking Conqueror, I think it's from Valhalla, Assassin's Creed. But yeah, I mean, holy shit, that jawline on Mary Jane, you're never going to live that one down, are you? Especially when they took it from the writer as well, which is even more annoying. And why is that chick from Star Wars Outlaws like the dude from The Warriors? Multi-million-dollar games like Star Wars Outlaws butcher Humbly Gonzalez's face, but yet look at RoboCop Rogue City, right? The lovely, I've forgotten the actress's name now. Not Nancy Travis, Nancy Allen. Okay, who played Lewis in the original RoboCop and obviously the sequel as well. So that's the actress right here on the left, and that's how they caught her on the right. Now, I don't know if they did mocap or whatever, or they just took photographs and scanned them that way. But look how good she looks in the game, right? That's a faithful likeness, and obviously made her a bit younger as well. And then you've got Spider-Man 2. Wow, the beautiful actress on the left and the not so beautiful rendition on the right. Oh my god. Oh, I'm getting PTSD again now, folks. I need to stop. Yes, it's disheartening, isn't it? But it's also quite funny with the fallout to Star Wars Outlaws. I wonder if Miss Gonzalez herself will actually make a kind of a statement, or probably her agent will say to her, just keep shitting about it. You've been paid already. Just go and do a publicity whistle-stop tour before August and just tell everybody to go and buy Star Wars Outlaws. No one's going to do it, I'm afraid. You know, if they made the character 10 times more attractive and the gameplay was actually good, and this video game actually cared about the Star Wars fans, because quite clearly Kathleen Kennedy's talking out about fat middle-aged ass, and that's clearly not true at all, then yeah, Ubisoft are going to have another failure on their hands, and it's an absolutely glorious moment. I'm dreading to think when they remake Splinter Cell how that's going to turn out. Yeah. As a lifelong Splinter Cell fan, I just don't want to know. I'm just already... Sam Fisher's going to be black, isn't he? And that's what's going to happen. They're going to make some excuse that now he has to be this color. You can't have a straight white man in a video game anymore, can you? So on that one, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this video today, make sure you leave a like below, smash that like and subscribe button. And if I were you, and if you were me, you might want to come back for the next video.